We're following breaking news out of the NBA here on CBS Sports HQ. The Utah Jazz trading Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves. That's according to ESPN. The three-time Defensive Player of the Year has spent his entire 9-year career in Utah. That changes now. In exchange for Gobert, the Jazz receiving multiple first-round picks, along with a haul of players. That list includes Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walter Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt. Now, as we take a look at the sports line impact of Rudy Gobert's move to the Timberwolves, you see them getting a few more wins, but it's that playoff percentage that we kind of want to factor in on here, or zoom in on, pardon me, to make the playoffs from 38.6 to 68.2 plus 5,000 to win an NBA title. So let's talk odds and get some reaction from our wagering guy, Tim Doyle. Tim, I'll ask you right off the top before, first I'll start off with your reaction to the news that Gobert's headed to the T-Wolves. What do you think?
Well, you already have a big guy. I don't understand this, right? This isn't 1984. Because if it was, what a great year for music. I mean, Flock of Seagulls. I mean, that's when music was music, okay, back then. But they were playing big guys, Twin Towers, right? Hakeem Olajuwon, Ralph Sampson. The game has totally changed. Where the team that just won the NBA championship, for a large majority of the 48 minutes that they play a guy who's 6'5" at center. So wait, now you're going to pair up Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. I don't know, Jeremy. They may know something I don't know. The stats are real as far as what he's going to be able to give you, the consistency in the regular season, but also in the postseason. He is, Rudy Gobert, a liability on the defensive end, especially when they put him in pick and rolls. So, yes, I mean, it's hard to say this guy is not good at basketball. You see the ranks there, rebounding, blocking shots, 71% from the field. He's wildly consistent. I just don't know why you'd need another big guy alongside Karl Anthony Towns. I think that they got absolutely fleeced, the T-Wolves. They got fleeced. They gave away like 1 million first-round picks. You know what the Jazz are doing right now? They're blowing this thing up. So they're getting all the draft picks, and that's how you do it. And, they felt like that was the best offer right now to move on from the Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles. It was like the same team every single year that couldn't get over the hump. So they're basically going to go back to start, blow this thing up, and start roll these first-round picks.
1984 politically, not realistically. Okay, so Tim, are you putting money on the T-Wolves then? You saw the increase in percentage in terms of making the playoffs from the 38.6 to the 68.2. Are you putting money on them to get to the postseason?
Oh, postseason, yeah, they'll make the postseason. Yeah, I mean, he's an unbelievable regular season player. There are people who do shows on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? If they don't get that Saturday night show, they don't get that Sunday show, or sometimes in local markets, those are actually the bad anchors that do Saturday. So I don't want to get into that, okay? But this is a different guy in the postseason versus the regular season because his inability to guard perimeter players, that they're going to put him on an island and force him to guard guys one-on-one. I am not surprised this happened at all for Utah, that they're blowing it up, because they looked disinterested in the playoffs. That's right. In a series where, they luck into Dallas, they luck into Luka Doncic not playing the first 2 games, and they still couldn't win the series. I bet that series, I was watching those games and I went, if you can't win this series, you obviously are never going to win an NBA championship. Time to blow it up. That's what they're doing. Blowing it up.
Okay, so the odds to win the West, then let's make things a little more interesting, go from 30-1 to 25-1. Are you putting a little sprinkle on that?
Depends what your sprinkle is that all of a sudden gets the juices flowing. You know what I mean? Yeah. For someone like Amanda, right? She's betting 2,000-3,000 a game. We can't keep up with her, Jeremy.
Tim, I'm a weekend anchor. I'm a weekend anchor. I can't keep up with that.
Exactly. So here's the deal. Whatever the sprinkle is, okay, for Amanda, $2,000, for me and you, a couple $100. Take half of it. Just give it to me and my family, and I will go down to Florida and kick you both in the shins, all right? Because there is no way, I repeat, no way the Timberwolves win the West with this roster. Come on. And then win an NBA championship. It's just not how the game is played today. So I don't really understand the makeup of this. I'm excited to watch it. I don't think it's going to be like an absolute train wreck. I think they're going to be a really solid regular season team. But as far as winning championships, I think they're a long way away.
Amanda did say earlier in the day today that she is looking for that NBA free agents money. is what she's.
I want $215 million. That's what I want.
$250 million. All right. Tim, Colin gave it. There we go. Yeah. Tim, Colin gave it a C-, the trade. So give me a letter grade for you.
Is that passing? Is that passing in Canada? I throw it back to you. A C-, like, does that get a degree in the 5 years of high school?
It got me here.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys have high school for so many years. That's an issue that you and I could take up, even though we agree on the national anthem.
It's only 3 years.
Those guys get out of Canada, no one knows how old they are anymore. You're like, how old are you?
Okay,
you were in
anyways,
high school,
trade grade.
13th grade. F. I don't get it. Incomplete. INC. Like, I remember I was failing in class miserably at Northwestern, and I went in there and I begged, and I said, I'm really going through a lot right now. And then she's still F. That's what I give this grade, an F right now. I don't buy into it because the game is played at a different level. So I think the Jazz won this trade in a big way, and I think the T-Wolves, they got fleeced the first-round picks.
Okay, so what about this then? Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, give me the Jazz side of this trade. That your opinion. You said that they got it done here. So what's the impact there for them?
This is what you got to look at for Utah. For them to ever have a successful team, they have to draft well. I know that sounds elementary, but no one's like, where I want to go? Free agent destination, baby. Salt Lake City. You think Kevin Durant's like, hey, I really want the Jazz to sign me? So you have to know that as an organization. I heard it's beautiful in Salt Lake City. The mountains, the fresh air, the blue sky. Great. But no one wants to sign there in the offseason. Everyone wants to sign with the Lakers or the Heat or the Knicks or those big market teams. So the Jazz, if they're not competing for what they believe is like a Western Conference title, a division title, if they're not going to be one of the top 5 teams in the Western Conference, retreat. You know this. You never say retreat in the military because it sounds like repeat, right? So you always say again. Okay, so that's a whole nother thing. You heard it once, you heard it twice. Jazz won this trade. They got all these first-round picks. They're going to knock it out of the park. They're going to be fine. This is what you do. When you're not winning, you got to retreat.
Plus 5,000 to win the West, plus 10,000 to win an NBA title. The Utah Jazz. Our Tim Doyle joining us to discuss Rudy Gobert's trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here's the breakdown of the deal. It's multiple first-round picks, and then, of course, that haul of players. Tim says, I think he's going to give the Jazz an A+, but he's giving the T-Wolves an F here. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, all players that are part of this deal for the Jazz. T-Wolves get Rudy Gobert.